Hi guys, good morning. We're going to be taking a look today at pages 18, 19, and 20 of your Unit 10 classwork packet. Once again, that's pages 18, 19, and 20. Now for the vast majority of you guys, this is actually going to be pretty easy because guess what? We've done the vast majority of this before, and we've actually done it at a much higher level. Alright, than the classwork packet right here. So we're going to start off and just go back through a few things, make sure that you're okay with the equations of circles. We'll do one or two types of problems that require a little bit of, I don't want to say algebra, but just a little bit of substitution. And then we'll take a look at what they'd probably expect from you if we were taking the EOC, but they will definitely expect from you on some versions of the SAT and whatnot going forward, okay? So, first things first, what's the equation for a circle? The equation for a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Recall that h comma k, right, to find the center, you look at the opposite of what's in the parentheses, and then to find the radius of the circle, you would just look at what the number on the right-hand side, and you would take its square root. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to take a look at one or two examples here and make sure we can write the equation given the center and radius. So let's take a look at number 1. They give us the center, right? 5 and 3, so 5 comma 3, x comma y, right? And the radius is 2, so all we got to do is plug in. So I'm going to say x minus 5 squared plus y minus 3 squared, and what's 2 squared? Equals 4. Bam, done. Let's try one more example. Let's try number 2, okay? So number 2, same thing, but you see how it's a minus 1 for x? Because it's the opposite of what it looks like, it would be x plus 1 squared plus y minus 7 squared, and what's 14 squared? 196. So far, so good, all right? Now turn to page 19. Look at number 7. Obviously, that one is pretty easy simply because you can see the center and the radius from the problem. The center is actually 3 comma negative 2, and the radius, if you just count from the center over, you should get 5 units, and you'll be able to write the equation pretty easily that way. Where it's a little bit more complicated is with question number 8. So everybody look with me, please. Question number 8. What number? Question number 8. Alright, so number 8 gives us a center, 9 comma 10, and they give us a point on the circle, 7 comma 4. Now before we actually plug in, I want you to notice something. So the 9 comma 10, that's my h comma k, so I just want to keep that in mind. That's my center. And 7 comma 4, does everybody agree with me that's an x comma y? So guess what? To write the equation of the circle, all I'm going to do is plug both those things in, find the radius, and then I can write the equation of the circle using h, k, and r. Let's go. So what's x? X is 7. So I'm going to have 7 minus 2 squared plus 4 minus 10 squared equals r squared. Let's do some math here. 7 minus 2. All right, or sorry, why am I saying 7 minus 2? Oh my gosh, 7 minus 9. Ay, 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 ay. That's why it's a bad thing when I can't read my own handwriting. Let's try that again. So 7 minus 9, that's going to give me negative 2, right? Over here, 4 minus 10, that's negative 6. Let's do some squaring. So I get 4 plus 36 equals r squared. 40 equals r squared. And I can get that rad 40 is r. Those of you guys who know how to simplify, you can get 2 rad 10 as the radius, okay? But here's the awesome part. If all they're asking me to do is write the equation of the circle, all I need to know is r squared. So once I find that r squared is 40, I'm done. So to write the equation, all I got to do is this. Put my h comma k back in. So x minus 9 squared plus y minus 10 squared equals 40. And I apologize that's written so badly, but you know what? This is the limitation of the whiteboard that I have, okay? So, for the 2 or 3 problems on your homework that require you to do this, all you got to do is take your center, take your h comma k, and plug them in for x, y, h, and k in the original equation, and find out what r squared is, and you can write your equation pretty easily. All right. Last but not least, let's take a look at page number 20 so you guys can see another way they could ask this. All right. And I want to take a look with you guys at question number 15. This integrates a whole bunch of stuff from across this unit, so be prepared. They tell us the center is 2, -2, and they tell me that the area is 361 pi. Now, in order to write the equation for a circle, I need to know two things. I need to know the center, and I need to know the radius. Let's check. Do I know the center? Yes, I do. Do I know the radius? Sadly, no. So here's what I gotta know. What's area? Pi r squared, right? So if you write an equation, set pi r squared equal to 361 pi, divide both sides through by pi, I get r squared equals 361, and for some of you guys, you may actually know that round 361 is pure and simple 19, right? So in this case, my equation for the circle would just be x minus 2 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 361. Bam! Done. Period. End of story. Now, I know this is actually not in your classwork packet, okay? I know it's not in your classwork packet, but I want to go back over it just to make sure, because this is something that, for those of you guys who may choose to take the EOC next year for whatever reason, and for those of you guys who are taking the SAT eventually, which is the vast majority of you, this is what they would ask you instead, all right? This is not in your classwork packet, but this is something that really should be something you should be prepared to answer. Remember, especially those of you guys in advanced topics, when I gave you this nasty equation like this, x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 10y, let's do some math, 4 and 25, 29, all right, let's just do minus 7 equals 0. So, what they're going to do is they're going to give you an equation like this, and they're going to ask you guys to complete the square twice to find the center and the radius of the circle, right? So the way I do that is I move the minus 7 to the other side, so I get a plus 7 by using inverse operations. Then I would have, let's see, y squared minus 10y. Then I use my handy-dandy formula, b over 2 squared, right? So I have b over 2 squared. So for 4 over 2 is 2, 2 squared is 4, so I add 4, and I add 4. Over here, negative 10 over 2 is negative 5, negative 5 squared is positive 25, so I add 25, and I add 25. Factor, what times what gives me 4 adds to give me 4? Positive 2. And over here, what times what gives me 25 adds to give me negative 10? Negative 5. And when I add those numbers up, I get 36. So my center for that would be negative 2, comma, positive 5, and my radius would be equal to 6. All right? So that's just a review of something we've gone over extensively, right? In advanced topics especially, but definitely in geometry. Okay, we've gone over every single class as bell work for a couple of them. Bear in mind, this is something you want to remember for the SAT. I promise you, maybe not on every version, but you'll find circles on a fair number of those exams. Okay?